see how you handle Ultra Instinct.
Yo, what's happening, YouTube? It's been a little while, but today I present you the SH Figuarts Ultra Instinct Goku review. Now, stay tuned because there's a decent amount of stuff to talk about. There's a couple of comparisons that I want to make for this video because I think with some of the stuff, this is a good figure. It's not a great figure, it's a good figure. But I think that some of the stuff that this figure suffers from has to do more with the growing pains of the line. And I'll explain what that means as we go through articulation. But without further ado, let's just hop right into it. Okay. So this figure here, starting at the head, we're going to start with articulation first, as usual. Starting with the head, you can look up about that much. He can look down much better than he can look up. So, looking up isn't the best, which is surprising on a figure like this. I would think it would be a little bit better. Let's do arms. Arms go out about that high, so that's actually really good. Swivel at the top of the bicep. Double jointed elbows. And you get a wrist hinge, which works well enough. It looks like it's supposed to be some type of butterfly joint here, but, bringing the arms forward, like, as we've seen on, like, Jiren and stuff, it doesn't work nearly as well as that, so, that's, I guess, sort of a bummer, sort of not, because it doesn't work as well as I think it's supposed to. It doesn't interrupt the sculpt as much on the chest. And speaking of the chest, we got some things to talk about with the chest. The chest is, for whatever reason, the plastic on the chest is mad shiny, and a lot of rest of the figure is either semi-shiny or kind of matte. The chest is noticeably more shiny than the rest of the figure for whatever reason. I don't know how that happened. Maybe they used a different type of plastic for that. I don't know. But since we're talking about chest, let's talk about the articulation. So going forward, that was my fault. Totally my fault. So as I was saying before, I push this to the limit. If that ever happens to your figure, it's easy to just pop right back on. That doesn't mean that the figure is cheap. It's just I was using way too much force on that. But going forward, not the best. Now going back is much better than going forward. Once again, I think the biggest weakness for this line of Dragon Ball Z figures right now is that the torso articulation, they have figured it out on a couple figures, but for the most part, I would say for like most of the standard releases, like most of the characters they're making are very like Saiyans that are very close to humans. Basically, no difference besides the fact that their hair color changes when they power up. They have to figure this torso articulation out for the most part. For the most part, some figures that do it well. Now we're gonna talk. This is the part where we're gonna start making some comparisons. So he has the 2.0 legs. So the hips don't go out like a split like I think it should. But this is not bad. But I think for this form specifically, this form of Ultra Instinct is so nimble. You're gonna be putting them in the crazy dynamic poses, So, but at the same time, this is what I said. It suffers from being. This figure suffers from being in a transitionary period, and this whole action figure line's life. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that it came out at a time where it seems like they were getting ready to phase out this joint technology and start, introducing what we know now as the 3.0 body. Super Saiyan 4 legs. You can see the difference. It looked like we were transferring to that technology that with the Super Saiyan 4 legs. But this was the last of the old, line of technology. Now they still have went back and used it for a couple figures after this one, but I think it suffers from that, and it just timed that this figure came out. Had it come out like I don't know, a year later, I think it would have been better. Maybe 2 years later. I can't remember how much longer this figure came out before SS4. But either way, um, yeah, the hips don't go out that far. But a strength is legs go all the way back, all the way forward, double jointed knee. You get an ankle rocker. Overall, I would say the articulation is actually pretty good. Oh yeah, side to side tilt is okay with the torso. Not bad at all. Um, I would say overall it is it is a good release, and overall aesthetic and articulation. It could use a bit more shading on the skin. You know how you guys know how I feel. If you watched more of my other reviews, you know how I feel about the shiny plastic. I think it cheapens the look of the figure. And I mean by shiny, I mean like a glossy look. Like he has, his chest looks like he rubbed baby oil all over his chest for whatever reason. I guess that was him. they had, they had him. That was him getting ready for the review, I guess. But there's another comparison I want to make, and this is a much more recent figure, but the Super Boo figure does something similar, which came out. The Super Boo figure came out before this one, and it does something similar to this figure I'm about to show on camera right now. And the review for this figure will be out tomorrow. This is the Dragon Ball superhero Piccolo. Now, I want to compare the hips. You want to look at his hips first? Make sure you can see it. Now we're going to look at Piccolo's hips. If you notice this cut right here, where they cut the plastic, it's a bit lower than the cut here. The cut is all the way, the cut for that joint is all the way up here. It's barely any space. Sorry for the shadow. But yeah, the cut right here, it's way higher up on that, all those legs, than it is here. It's way down here now with the Piccolo. And so what's the difference? Well, now, look, you can do complete splits easy. And you don't have to sacrifice like you do with the 2.0 body. You can bring the legs all the way back. So that's just something for, I think, Figuarts to think about. And they did do it with a particular figure that I don't have yet. And he's also a Saiyan. And he'll be, when you'll see when the review comes. I don't have him yet though. But I want to say I'm gonna bring Ultra Instinct back on the camera real quick. I'm gonna bring Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and I just want to talk real quick about why I think they made that decision, not to just use the like Piccolo like legs for all the other baggy pant characters like Gohan and Goku. I think what they was trying to do is trying to keep the joints and the sculpt as seamless as possible. Like you can see, like I think these new legs that they have makes the sculpt look more seamless. Like you can't tell. I mean, you can obviously tell that there's joints there, but I think the idea was to not to break the sculpt, trying their best not to break the sculpt with the Piccolo legs. Even though they're functional, I wouldn't say that they look the best. They don't bother me, but they don't look the best. So there's that. Um, with that said, I would like to move on to accessories. Now for the accessories, we're going to go through the faces first. So first things first, he has one looking off to the side face, looking off to the side stern face. He has a straight up stern face, straight face, no expression, which is par for the course with Ultra Instinct. One gritting teeth face. And one yelling face. I think that's pretty good for faces. I'm not sure how much more you would need for Ultra Instinct, considering that's a state where he's supposed to be. At least the silver hair variation is a state where he's supposed to be emotionless. On him, I have one grabby hand, but he comes with two of these, and I have one martial arts pole hand, which he also comes with another one of these. They both I have both of them. And last but not least, two fist hands. Most important thing for any, I was gonna say any Dragon Ball figure, but any like type of figure where they do a lot of fighting in their media, you're always gonna need the fist hands. And well, I said that was last but not least, but this is last but not least. You get a Kamehameha effect part. I lost some of the light streaks from it. I misplaced them earlier when I was setting up for the video, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, you get like about 3 more of these to attach to the ball effect piece. And all, I think that's a good amount of accessories for Goku. I think what I would have preferred is maybe instead of the ball, the charging part, maybe the beam itself, come in with a beam itself, but that'll probably make the figure cost a decent amount more. But overall, this figure it's a solid figure. I think, like I said, it suffers from getting towards the end of the line when it comes to using this articulation and not the updated body. I think overall it's about a 7.5 out of 10. Definitely not a bad figure at all. It's just, we've seen a lot of new, better things up till now. So now, the standard is higher. The paint and stuff could use, well, the paint, all the areas that it has paint, the paint is clean. It's just that it's not a lot of paint to begin with. Like, I'll never stress it enough. With muscles like these, you want like some shading on it to emphasize the sculpt. But they don't have a lot of that on here. Stay tuned for pictures after this. And until next time, the reverse flow out.